Guys, during the recent Rocket League event, we got the announcement of Unreal Engine 6. Actually, it wasn't the announcement of Unreal Engine 6 itself, it was the announcement of a new Rocket League made with Unreal Engine 6. And there are some interesting things here for us to think about. First of all, Rocket League started out being made in Unreal Engine 3, and in theory, it still runs on Unreal Engine 3, but it's been heavily modified, with a big focus on those modifications. The studio that makes Rocket League is actually Epic Games itself, and from here we can start thinking about a lot of things. What can we think about? What information do we actually have about this? I talk about it in this video, but if you want a longer and more detailed version, I've already recorded a video here on the channel, so I have to say, I warned you. Why? When I recorded the video called Unreal Engine 6, Everything We Know So Far, I mentioned a window of about 2 years ahead, where we're gonna see more and more things about Unreal Engine 6. And I didn't just make that up. Some people confronted me about it, and well, I got it from this interview right here. Tim Sweeney recorded a 4.5 hour podcast, and I watched absolutely everything he said. He talks at length about Unreal Engine 6, where he mentions that it's gonna take about 2 to 3 years. So that's the time frame we have. At least, that was the case back then. Since then, that window has shrunk a bit, so now it's about 1.5 to 2, maybe 2.5 years. Of course, that's an optimistic estimate, but from now until then, and since I focus a lot on Unreal Engine on my channel, we're gonna start seeing a whole lot of things involving this game engine. Why? The thing is, developing a game engine, folks, isn't something you do overnight. You need to test the technologies, see how they work, and figure out which features developers actually need. And of course, Epic Games already does this using Unreal Engine 5, but a new game engine that needs to solve some problems that the whole industry faces, this feedback, this perception people have about Unreal Engine needs to change. So you have to work on this extensively from scratch with some games. And we know that Rocket League and Fortnite will be the main games serving as the foundation for this development, in addition, of course, to other partnerships. Well, Unreal Engine and Epic Games are huge, and they have massive studio partnerships. For example, we can think of CD Projekt Red, which is developing The Witcher 4 in Unreal Engine. And, well, many of these technologies and needs are already seen and implemented in these games. But Rocket League is, in fact, the first game announced in Unreal Engine 6. If you want to really understand and see in depth everything behind Unreal Engine 6, I highly suggest you watch my last video here, because I go into detail about the various things that will be important for Epic Games. I talk about financial issues because Epic Games is facing, well, a business model that might need to change. How are they going to deal with that? It's no coincidence that Unity itself had that whole issue with subscriptions and all, because companies need ways to make money, and sometimes, well, that money doesn't come in the way they expect from publishing games and using their own game engines. So Unreal Engine is having to rethink its business model, and that's something that could definitely impact Unreal Engine 6. Will it still be free? Is it gonna have some kind of subscription model? How's that gonna work, and what will their answer be? We know that Fortnite also makes a lot of money, so we can probably expect things along those lines. Tim Sweeney said that Unreal Engine is gonna look more like what we have with Fortnite's Island Creator. So this could also have a significant impact, a really big impact on changes to Unreal Engine itself. Besides that, there's the use of artificial intelligence, because whether you're for it or not, whether it has a lot of problems or a lot of advantages, because that's how I see it, right? I see that artificial intelligence brings us a lot of headaches, a lot of problems for us to think about, but it also brings a ton of things that are incredibly cool, and I don't think you can deny that. It's something that's they're gonna have to think about it. People want to use it. I'm not saying everyone does, okay? I'm not saying that you want to. What I'm saying is that a lot of people do, and artificial intelligence is evolving. So are you gonna integrate this in a more robust way? And if you do this integration, you have to do it right. So this needs to be thought through. Will we see this in Unreal Engine 6? Besides that, there are a bunch of other things I talk about in a 30-minute video in another video of mine that I'll leave linked below in the pinned comment and in the description and at the end of this video for you to watch, because I think there's a lot of information there. And I warned you, I recorded that video before we had this Unreal Engine 6 announcement, before we had any announcement, about a week before, so it was really close. If you want to know everything that's happening with Unreal Engine and game development, you can follow me. I've been testing a lot of technologies and new features here on the channel, and I've also been bringing a lot of news about this whole universe. If you want to stay up to date, maybe you want to create your own game or learn about the technologies that are being implemented and how you can use them in your daily life, man, you can subscribe down here, of course, and you can also dive into my course, where you'll get tons of knowledge to apply, create 3D environments, develop game mechanics, and much more. It's one of the most comprehensive courses with the most students in Brazil. The pinned comment is right down here in the description, and of course everything you learn in Unreal Engine 5 you'll be able to use in Unreal Engine 6. I guarantee you that, okay? That's how it's been with all the other versions, so the knowledge stays relevant and extremely applicable. Leave a comment here about what you thought of this news and what you're expecting from Unreal Engine 6. Thank you so much for watching until the end. See you very soon. A big hug. Bye. Amen.